every person who is charged with a criminal offense is entitled to defend himself in person or by a legal practitioner of his own choice.
Remember that an individual is entitled to remain silent.
Every citizen in Nigeria is entitled to maintain a private life.
You are approaching a military checkpoint or a police checkpoint without knowing that it's against or it offends them and subject you to a frog jump. That is wrong.
Hello and welcome to another fresh episode of the program Justify Nigeria on ACNN Television, reaching you from Abuja. On today's episode of the program, we are going to be looking at the legal importance of wills and codicil. My name is Anozie Chinomso. According to Leo Tolstoy, death is the inevitable end of everything. It is also an indisputable fact that when one dies, he remains unaware of what is happening around him for life, and as such has no idea what happens to his properties, estates, and assets. But in a situation where the deceased has a will, he has nothing to be afraid of on what happens to his properties after he must have gone. A will is an instrument by which a person makes a disposition of his real and personal property to take effect after his death, and which by its own nature is ambulatory and revocable during his lifetime. It may also be described as testamentary document executed according to law and voluntarily made by a person with a sound disposition mind, by which he gives direction to persons called executors concerning the disposition of his real and personal properties after his death. From this submission, does it mean that a will must be made only when a person is alive? Who has the capacity to make a will? What happens when a blind man makes a will? With me in the studio to address these issues is Barrister Kelechi Nwokog, legal practitioner and legislative consultant here in Abuja. Barrister Kelechi, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, my brother. We talk about will. Oftentimes when people, you ask them about will, they think it's an ordinary will. They not understand what it means. Please, to the betterment of our audience and viewers, please, what is will and what does it mean when they say that somebody died intestate?
All right, thank you. Thank you for the question. I would say that a will is a legal and testamentary document which is made voluntarily by a testator. That is the person who is making the will. Okay,
person making the will now is also known as testator.
Testator, yes. So the will is made by the testator voluntarily in an attempt to dispose of his real estates or properties, as the case may be, to either his family members or his friends or associates, as the case may be. So in a in a simple form, you can say a will is a legal document where the testator disposes his properties to either his family members or associates or friends, as the case may be.
You talked about the word voluntary. Yes. So what happens if that will is not meant voluntary?
We are a will as an essential element of every valid or legal will. We are a will is not made voluntarily. It means there are some undue influence, or undue influence particularly over the testator who is making the will, which vitiates the provisions of the will.
That's why you said it must be voluntary.
It must be voluntary.
It must be voluntary.
It must be voluntary.
Now, we hear that they say somebody dies intestate. What does that mean when they say that somebody dies intestate?
Okay, when someone dies intestate, it simply means that the person died without making provision of a valid or legal will. So when a person dies without determining, the distribution of his properties or real estates to his family members or beneficiaries, other beneficiaries as the case may be, the person is said to have died intestate. And that leaves the decision with regards to the distribution of his will to, of course, other persons to take care of, particularly the probate court.
Okay. Thank you very much. Can you tell us, because from what you've just said, there must be some merits or what I call advantages of making a will.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us some of those advantages of making a will, and maybe further trying to explain the essence of a witness in a will? But first, what are the advantages of making a will?
All right. Firstly, the advantages of making a will is quite enormous.
We're enormous.
Yes.
Please, we want to hear them so that our viewers, they will start now. If for those who doesn't have a will, please let's know them.
They are quite enormous and can't be overemphasized. One is that making a will allows an individual or a person the opportunity to determine those who takes over his estate or who takes over the administration of his properties at his demise. It allows the person who is making the will, like I said, it's called the testator. It allows him that opportunity to determine the distribution of his estate upon his demise. That is one. Secondly, making a will also helps in reducing family strife. That is troubles and, of course, struggle for who takes over the properties of the deceased upon his demise. So when a person or an individual makes a will, it settles or it solves that problem of people or family members struggling to take over the real estate or the properties of the deceased. It's also one of the advantages. And again, a will provides the testator, the maker of the will, the opportunity to also include how his funeral at his demise can be conducted.
Oh, it's possible?
Yeah, it's possible.
Well, Mr. Kelechi, I understand that a will not be read until the deceased is buried. But now you are saying that he can now make how his funeral will look like.
Yes.
Does it mean that the will will be read before his funeral?
Of course, preparations for someone's funeral comes up at the death or the demise of the person. So there is no way, the will would be read before the person's demise, or the plans or the person's thoughts.
Maybe you don't understand my scenario, sir. A deceased is just dead, and the family members are planning for his burial. Will the will be read that time before the men committal, before the men burial, or after the burial, the will be read?
Well, you agree with me that for every will there is an executor of a will.
Okay.
There is an executor of a will who is privy to the contents, or who may be privy to the contents of the will.
That can now guide the family on how the burial will look like.
Okay. So that is one of the advantages of...
that does not mean that the will have been read. No, it's just to guide them, look at how the burial will look like. That has been the wishes of the deceased.
So it allows the testator to make... offer ideas on how his funeral can be conducted. And again, making a will also helps to secure the continuity of the administration of the estate of the deceased. Where the deceased dies, there is assurance that there will be continuity in the administration of his properties and real estate. So these and of course many more reasons why it is important for people to deem it fit to always make a will.
Thank you very much. Look, what is the legal effect of a witness in a will? Do they play, or witnesses, do they play important role in a will?
Of course, like every other legal document, witnesses are pivotal to making of a will. And like we all know, the Wills Act provides that for a will to be valid, there must be at least 2 witnesses.
Oh, it's even a condition sine qua non?
Yes, it's a condition precedent for a will to be valid. There must be witnesses to such will. And it is also important that in choosing or in determining persons who are qualified to be witnesses, to a particular way, such persons must be of legal age. Such persons must be of legal age. That is,
they will not be minor.
Yes, they must be above the legal age of 18 years and above. So it is also expected that beneficiaries to a will are not allowed to be witnesses to a will. So if someone is a beneficiary to a will, it is expected that such person is not allowed to be a witness to that will. The essence of this is to make sure that the purpose of confidentiality and, of course, conflict of interest doesn't arise. Right. Where a person who is a beneficiary stands also as a witness, cases of conflicts of interest as regards
undue influence.
And undue influence may arise. So it is expected that persons who are to serve as witnesses are not beneficiaries and are disinterested in the contents of the will. And again, it is expected that for an individual or for a testator to have a will properly executed, the witnesses must be present at the time that will is being signed by the executor. The two witnesses must be present, and the testator must make it clear, categorically clear, that he intends that the document which he's making in form of a will has the legal force, the force of the law. So for every will, there is need for witnesses who can, even at the demise, upon the demise of the testator, stand to testify as regards to the validity of the existence of the will, and of course the validity of the soundness of the mind of the testator who is making the will, that at the time the will was made, that the testator was of sound mind and of course was not under any form of undue influence.
Thank you very much. Can a blind man make a will or attest to a will? What are the essential requirements of a valid will? These and more we are going to hear from Barrister Kelechi after this short time out. Please do join us again. Hi, you are welcome to the speaker on ACNN television, reaching you from Abuja. My name is Anozie Chinomso. On January 1, 1914, Lord Frederick Lugard, the then governor of both the northern Nigerian protectorates and the colony, and protectorate of southern Nigeria, signed a document consolidating the two, thereby creating the colony and protectorate of Nigeria. 46 years later, in 1960, Nigeria became an independent state. And 3 years after 1960, precisely in 1963, Nigeria became a republic. Quite impressive. There was a vision. There was a mission. And there was a dream our founding fathers had in the struggle of independence of Nigeria. The dream of Nigeria becoming one of the highest economies in the world. The dream of Nigeria becoming the Canaan of the world where milk and honey flows. The dream of Nigeria where every citizen will have a better life. And the dream of Nigeria becoming a land of opportunities for job creation, invention, and innovations. But with the current event happening in our country, I'm persuaded to ask the question, which way, Nigeria? When I look at Nigeria, many questions come to mind. Many times I ask myself, what will happen if Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe and Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa were to rise up and see what is happening? Oftentimes I ask myself, what will happen if Ahmadu Bello, the Sardauna of Sokoto, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, Dim Chukwuemeka Dimegwejukwu, Chief Michael Okpara, Samuel Onunaka Mbakwe, Margaret Ekpu, Herbert Macaulay, Alvan Ikoku, we are to rise up and see what is happening. Because what they will be confronted with is a Nigeria where Borno State is unsettled. There is a massive genocide going on there on a daily basis. They will be confronted with a Nigeria where a president is always absolute silent and who finds it difficult to address Nigerians, especially anytime calamity befalls Nigeria. They will be confronted with Nigeria, where if you speak the truth, you die. If you don't speak the truth, you will also die. And Nigeria, where the rich is getting richer and the poor is getting poorer. And Nigeria, where spilling of innocent blood is no more a news. And Nigeria, where service chiefs have for a long time overstayed their tenure of office. That is the kind of Nigeria that they will be confronted with. They will be confronted with a Nigeria where protesters are labeled terrorists and Boko Haram are saints. This is most laughable. They will be confronted with a Nigeria where the life of cows are valued more than the life of human beings. In Nigeria, where the bank accounts of protesters are frozen and that of Boko Haram is untouched. In Nigeria, where some government officials and political class are no more thieves but looters on an industrial scale. Why must Nigeria be punching below her economic weight? Today, $1 is equal to 496 naira, thereby subjecting Nigeria into 2 serial economic recessions within 5 years. One of the leading Nigerian musicians from the late 1970s to early 1990s, who hails from Edo State by name Sonny Okosun of blessed memory, was right when he asked the question in one of his songs, "Which way, Nigeria?" Several years down the line, the question is valid to both the leaders and the led. Members of the National Assembly, which way to go? Cabinet ministers, which way to go? Government appointees, which way to go? Governors and deputy governors, which way to go? Mr. President, which way to go? And you, yes, you, that defends sordid and morbid policies and decisions that the government is making because of the peanuts you will get. Which way, Nigeria? We need to tell our leaders the truth, to change their evil ways and restructure this country. We need to tell our politicians to cut down the cost of governance and channel these funds in improving the standard of living of the citizens. We need to tell our political class to stop privatizing public funds and disengage themselves from grafts. We must remind our leaders that when they are invited to international gathering, they are not there for merely photo sessions, but as true participants in the agenda of determining what the world is all about. We need to remind them that when they are in international organizations, they must not allow to be sit on dint of tokenism, but must be substantive participants in the agenda of life. We are not children of a lesser God. We are not children of a lesser God. We are not children of a lesser God. I therefore speak that both the leaders and the led in Nigeria must always ask the question, which way, Nigeria? For that will remind us of whom we are and help to abolish religious sentiments and ethnic extraction, amend our ways for a better Nigeria. And only then will the Nigerian dream of greatness by our founding fathers will be factual, achievable, and realizable. My name is Ano Zechinomso. I just want to speak. Hello dear, glad to know that you are still there. We are still here in the studio with Barrister Kelechi. Barrister Kelechi, before we went for break, you have let us know the essence of making a will. And you also spelled out the people that can make a will and attest to a will. But I want to ask, can a blind man who doesn't see make a will?
Of course, it's an inherent right. Every person, as long as he's of sound mind,
yes.
As long as he's of sound mind, what the condition precedent is that the person must be of sound mind. So as long as you're of sound mind and of your legal age, you're eligible to make a will.
It doesn't matter whether he's blind or not.
It doesn't matter whether you are blind. It doesn't matter whether you are dumb. It doesn't matter whether you're deaf, as far as you can communicate your intents. And as long as you can communicate your intents, you are eligible to make a will. But like we all know, a blind man can make a will but cannot attest.
I was about asking you that. Okay,
yes.
a blind man cannot attest. How is it possible? Why is it law? Why did law put it that way, that a blind man can make a will but he cannot attest?
Yes.
Please tell us.
Yes, a blind man can make a will
but cannot attest.
Why? Because for you to attest to a will, it means you've seen, you were present, and you are attesting to have seen the procedure leading and the content leading to the making of that will. So if you are a blind person or a blind individual, cannot see and cannot read, nor see what the content of the will is, or even see where he or she is to place his signature, for purposes of executing the will. So for a blind man, he's entitled to make a will.
Because it is right.
It is his right.
But not
to witness, to serve as a witness to a will.
Thank you very much, my brother. What are the essential requirements of a valid will? There must be some things that you will see and say, this is a valid will. And the ones, if it's not there, it's not a valid. So what are the essential requirements?
Okay. Like every other valid legal document, a will must be in writing. Must be in writing, though there are some special circumstances where it may be oral, but it is expected that a will is put to writing.
So that it can be easily enforceable, because when it's oral, I don't think it will be easily enforceable.
So
all right?
A will must be in writing. It must be properly executed, that is signed by the necessary parties, both the testator and the witnesses. A will is also expected to identify the beneficiaries and the properties that are to be distributed or shared amongst the beneficiaries. So it must be able to identify what the properties are and who the beneficiaries are. So also, again, a will must be also able to it must be made voluntarily. It must be made voluntarily. It must
not under pressure.
Yes, not under pressure. Which means that the person making the will must have the testamentary capacity. The testamentary capacity in the sense that he must be of sound mind. He must be of sound mind. He must not be under any form of undue influence or pressure or external influence in taking decisions as regards to, what goes to who, which will definitely be contained in the will. So, and again, a will is supposed to, it should be dated.
Okay.
It should be dated. It's also an important feature for a valid will. It must be dated. So these are some of the essential features of a valid will.
Now, Barrister Kelechi, where a testator has something like 5 wives, oftentimes that's where you see this kind of problem. And maybe for whatever reason, he loves the 5th or the last wife so much that he will not, if not more than half of the properties. And the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, they are noticing some funny thing that must have happened. Could it be said that the testator made that will unduly or with undue influence of the 5th wife?
In law...
You understand what I just stated?
In law, we say he that asserts must prove.
Okay.
It is not, in as much as, that is the reason why there are witnesses to a will. People who will be there to attest to the fact that indeed this will was made not out of compulsion or external pressure or undue influence, but out of, the convinced intentions of the maker of the will.
Thank you very much. Now, sir, what is the legal effect of Codicil? Because oftentimes we hear about will vis-a-vis Codicil. What is Codicil? So that our viewers that are not lawyers will understand what is Codicil and what is Codicil,
okay,
sir?
To appreciate it more, Codicil does not vary so much from a will. It's also it can be said to be a legal document that is used to alter or to amend an existing will.
Okay, somehow part of the will.
Yes, a codicil cannot exist on its own. There must be a will for there to be a codicil. So where there is a will and there is need for the maker of the will or the testator to amend or to alter or to even revoke the will, such a revocation or such alteration or amendments can be done by using the legal instrument called Codicil.
Okay, for example, if a testator have maybe, let me say 5 properties, maybe within his lifetime he now acquired 7 or 8, and he wants now to include. So Codicil can be used
to make these inclusions, to add or even to subtract.
But the Codicil cannot exist on its own.
It cannot exist on its own. It can be said to be a byproduct of a will.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you so much. Can a will be revoked, and what are the circumstances by which it can be done? First of all, can a will be revoked?
Yes, a will itself is ambulatory.
What do you mean by ambulatory? You are speaking another big grammar to our audience, please. So you know we are not all lawyers. Yes, so what do you mean by ambulatory?
Ambulatory in the sense that it is revocable. It is not. It doesn't remain static. It can be changed from time to time. So within the lifetime of the maker of the will. So why the maker of the will is still alive? He has the right to amend or revoke, or even alter the provisions or the contents of a will.
Thank you very much. Just before we go, short one, what is your advice to our viewers, especially people that doesn't have a will?
For me, I will advise that people must begin to plan the future, not just their future, but the future of their families and relatives, and as well ensure that there is a continued sustenance of peace even while they are gone. For every maker of a will is a peacemaker, and like we all know, it is a biblical injunction that only the peacemakers can be called the sons of God. So if you want to be a son of God, or if you want to be a daughter of God, you must be able to ensure and protect the future of your family and the future of your friends and associates by ensuring that you make a will.
Thank you very much. I hope you also have one yourself. You see, our lawyer is just now a pastor quoting Matthew 5 verse 9. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Thank you very much for coming. And I pray next time we call you, you oblige us.
Sure, sir.
Wow. We've heard it from our guest that we have to make a way for every person that has a will. Is a peacemaker. There is no doubt that will is a very good thing. It is expected that every adult should have a will. This is because no one knows when, where, or how death will come. It is also advised that your executors and trustees to your will must be people who are very close to you, who will not betray you after when you must have gone. Always remember that a will is ambulatory, and as such, you are free to change your will at any given time as long as you live, either through codicil or willful alteration. Ensure at all times that 2 or more witnesses attest to your will in your presence, but certainly not a blind man. This is because a blind man has a capacity and right to make a will, but not to witness a will. This was the decision in the celebrated case of Shearers against Glasgow, 91 England Report 584. This is where we draw the curtain on today's episode of Justify Nigeria. Join us same time, same station for another interesting episode of the program. Until then, this is Anozechi Nonso urging you to justify all you do, and bye for now.